the status of compliance by the county government of Kisumu with the provisions of essential services in municipalities enumerated in the first schedule to the Urban Areas and Cities Act 2011. 2, state whether all functions outlined in Schedule 4, Part 2 of the Constitution, including the attendant, staff, budget, and assets, have been transferred from the respective county government departments to the municipalities as per the Gazette notice of 13th October 2023 issued by the Governor Professor Peter Nyang'nyong. Third, explain whether the new municipalities have established physical offices, and if so, where these offices are located for each of the 5 municipalities, and whether these municipalities have operational bank accounts for financial transactions management and day-to-day running of operations, and provide details of the bank accounts and any funds allocated to the municipalities for their establishment. 4, state whether the staff have been deployed in these municipalities, and if so, provide details on the number, remuneration, and the roles of the deployed staff. 5, explain whether these municipalities have established management boards and outline the number of meetings that have been held by the boards since the establishment, providing any resolutions for such meetings and whether allowances have been paid to board members for the meetings held as prescribed. Lastly, outline the general terms of remuneration of the board members and elaborate whether such terms are similar to those of other boards within the county government and whether these terms meet the standards set out by the SRC guidelines. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Next is Senator for Taita Taveta County, John Zumaruma.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to request for a statement on the ongoing strike by medical personnel in Taita Taveta County. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Health regarding the ongoing strike by medical personnel in Taita Taveta County. In the statement, the committee should, 1, appraise the Senate on the reasons presented by the striking workers that necessitated the industrial action. 2, update the Senate on any measures taken by the county government of Taita Taveta to address the issues raised by the striking workers before commencement of their industrial action. 3, inform the Senate of the steps the county government is taking to resolve the strike. And finally, provide an account of the number of casualties in the 4 sub-counties resulting from this industrial action, which could have been avoided had the strike not occurred. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Good. The next is a statement by Senator Foram, Senator Joseph Kiduku. He is not present. That statement is dropped. The other one is the statement from the Senator for Kisii County, Senator Richard Onyonka. Also, the statement is dropped. Is your point of order, Senator Munyihaji Mohammed?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I rise on a point of order to seek your guidance on an issue that is affecting the House generally. And this is with regard to our committee work. Most of the committees, Honorable Speaker, are experiencing a lot of quorum issues. Members appear to be a bit disenchanted, and therefore it is very difficult for the chairs of those committees to be able to prosecute the matters that are before those committees. Mr. Speaker, so far we have not been able to know from our committee chairs what are the budgets of our respective committees. We have already done a quarter of the financial year, July, August, September, and so far there has been no movement at all. There are reports that are waiting to be concluded. There are public participation activities that needs to be done, and all this will require members to volunteer and attend those meetings, Mr. Chair, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, I wanted to propose, Mr. Speaker, that we hold a kamkunji so that these issues can be discussed in plenary by all the members and members also and the chairs of those committees. I know you chair the liaison committee, but maybe liaison may not be pushing strong enough so that the interests of those chairs that you preside over can be taken care of. The second issue, Honorable Speaker, is the fact that we have information that the Senate had pending bills of about 450 million in the last financial year. We need to know as a Senate, because you know, the Senate, in my 7 years in this House, I know there's a budget that comes from the Parliamentary Service Commission to the Senate. Now that budget, when it comes to it arrives at the Senate, who now budgets that money? And who amongst the members here makes a decision on how that money is supposed to be used? Because I know we as members are accountable to our people.
So what clarification are you seeking from the chair?
The clarification I'm seeking, Chair, is that we need to have a kamkunji as soon as possible. In fact, this kamkunji should have been done before we opened the House yesterday, so that members can be briefed on what is happening, so that committees can be vibrant again. Most of the committees that are taking issues, they are taking issues out of public limelight so that they can get that mileage in the press. But in reality, most of the committees are struggling in terms of budget, in terms of quorum. And this cannot, because most of our business is transacted through committees. And if the committees are not meeting, then it means we'll only be coming here to...
Your point is made, Senator Mohamed Faki. I've heard you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
And I'll give guidance on that particular matter.
Thank you.
On Kamkunji as a receipt and all these interests. Now I'm not able to differentiate on what issues the members want to contribute here. I want to give just to... I'll give you 1 minute each, 2 from this side and 2 from this other side on the issue raised by Senator Mohamed Faki. And then we are going to give a few, maybe 20 or so minutes for the statements. Senator Gloria.
Thank you, Speaker. I'm glad that Senator Faki has brought this issue up. Speaker, like every other institution, the Senate actually runs on a budget. And Mr. Speaker, we have been reminded severally by Gen Z that we need to live within our means and we must practice austerity measures. However, Mr. Speaker, the Senate, and particularly the senators, do not have any oversight of the budget that we have as a Senate, Mr. Speaker. In the National Assembly, they have a Budget and Appropriation Committee that actually is able to give foresight and control on the expenditure. But in the Senate, Mr. Speaker, there's a lot of gray areas, Mr. Speaker. Yesterday, we had Senator Sifuna sweating because the air conditioning system here has a problem. This morning, Mr. Speaker, we could barely hear the Minister for Roads because our sound system here doesn't work. However, Mr. Speaker, for some very weird reason, we are prioritizing the purchases of red carpets, hanging lights, and all sorts of other things, Mr. Speaker. As we speak, I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, we really do not have oversight of even on basic things such as travel, Mr. Speaker. And we just are asking, as a House of Oversight, Mr. Speaker, if we can be allowed to see the money that has been appropriated to Senate and how we can be able to use that money with austerity measures, Mr. Speaker. And finally, just to conclude, Mr. Speaker, because I am not a chair.
You have been heard. Senator Moses Kajwan. Senator Kajwan.
Mr. Speaker, together with Senator Cheriot, we have been in this Senate from the 11th Parliament. And this Senate has changed. We are no longer able to execute our functions in committees. We are no longer able to even do parliamentary diplomacy, which is a critical aspect of any parliament. Mr. Speaker, the problem is not just the allocations at the committee level. The problem is a global allocation to the Senate. The problem is a global allocation to Parliament as an institution. And Mr. Speaker, we've allowed people to ride roughshod over us, contrary to Article 2493, which requires this Parliament to allocate adequate funds to enable each commission and independent office to perform its functions. We are allowing the National Treasury to set a budget for us. Mr. Speaker, that is where the problem starts. And Mr. Speaker, I belong to the Liaison Committee, which you so ably chair. I believe this matter now needs to be brought to members, because members don't understand.
Senator Chalage.
Mr. Speaker, one, I want to raise that these issues have been saying it in secrecy, but now it's open. I want to thank Senator Faki. Mr. Speaker, it's very unfortunate that we have a pending bill of 450 Kenya shillings, million. Who spent that money? I'm not aware. Mr. Speaker, he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. Mr. Speaker, number two, how can you slash that every committee gets 7 million? What will you do with 7 million? We cannot even reach Dandora Stadium to do audit of even toy market, Mr. Speaker, to investigate, let alone going to Kericho or Nandi or Marsabit, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is an affront to the institution of Parliament, more so to the Senate, Mr. Speaker. And I'm requesting that we need to adjourn indefinitely and discuss, or Mr. Speaker, I'm proposing, let us only do plenary sittings and do away with committee and parliamentary diplomacy until this matter is heard and determined, Mr. Speaker, through the committee, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, even finally, give us a date.
Now, I want to give guidance on that matter. I will request the leadership of I want to give guidance, majority leader, since you will be able to mediate this matter and the minority leadership and the majority leadership, you preserve your comment so that you not be yeah, so I will request that both Onda Senator Chalage, Onda, majority leader, I want to give you guidance now. And I don't know, this bromance between you and Senator Gloria this afternoon is a bit worrying.